Welcome back, everyone, to jaime-rush.blog Deep Dives. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at the Gospel of Luke, chapter 13, verses 31-35.
A powerful passage indeed.
And a timely one, too. This is actually today's Gospel reading.
Ah, yes. It really speaks to the heart of Jesus' ministry, especially as we move towards Holy Week.
Absolutely. The tension is really palpable here. Jesus is teaching, performing miracles, even facing opposition.
And then it gets really intense.
Yeah, some Pharisees approach him with this warning and says, "Get away from here, for Herod wants to kill you."
A curious scene, right?
A bit. I mean, the Pharisees and Jesus didn't exactly have the best track record.
Right, they were constantly clashing, so why would they suddenly be concerned for his safety?
It's like, okay, we might not agree with you, but we definitely don't want Herod to win.
Exactly. It all boils down to the political climate at the time.
So unpack that for us. What was going on?
Well, the Pharisees, as a religious group, were extremely wary of Herod's power.
They saw him as a threat.
Absolutely. Herod represented Roman authority. He was seen as a puppet king.
And that directly challenged the Pharisees' influence.
Precisely. So their warning to Jesus could be interpreted as a mixture of genuine concern.
And maybe a bit of self-preservation, too?
Perhaps. It's like, hey, we may not like this guy, but we certainly don't want Herod gaining even more power.
Makes sense. So Jesus is in danger, but how does he react to this warning?
Oh, he doesn't back down. Not one bit. He tells them, "Go and tell that fox, behold, I cast out demons and perform cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I finish my course."
Calling Herod a fox, that's a pretty bold statement.
It's more than bold. In that culture, a fox was a symbol of cunning, deceit.
Qualities that were often associated with Herod.
Precisely. Jesus is refusing to be intimidated by a ruler like Herod.
He's basically saying, I'm not going to let threats stop me from fulfilling my mission.
And then he goes even further. He says, "Nevertheless, I must go on my way today and tomorrow and the day following, for it cannot be that a prophet should perish away from Jerusalem."
What's he hinting at here?
So much! On one level, he's highlighting the urgency of his mission.
But there's also this sense of foreshadowing,
Absolutely. It points to his impending crucifixion and resurrection.
which we know will take place in Jerusalem.
A city with a long history of rejecting and even killing prophets.
And that brings us to the heart of the passage, a verse that always resonates so deeply, especially with us Christians. "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to it. How often would I have gathered your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you were not willing."
Such powerful, heartbreaking imagery.
The hen gathering her chicks. It speaks volumes about God's love, that fierce desire to protect.
Exactly. Jesus yearns to gather his people, offer them shelter and safety.
But they resist.
And that's the tragedy, isn't it? We have this free will to accept or reject God's love.
So then the passage ends on this sobering note. "Behold, your house is forsaken. And I tell you, you will not see me until you say, 'Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.'"
Those are some loaded words.
Absolutely. What does Jesus mean by your house being forsaken?
He's talking about the temple in Jerusalem,
It's the center of Jewish worship.
and he's prophesying its destruction, something that actually happened a few decades later.
In 70 AD by the Romans.
Exactly. This destruction signifies a profound spiritual shift, a turning away from God.
It's like a consequence for rejecting Jesus as the Messiah.
And then that final line, "You will not see me until you say, 'Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.'"
Such a powerful statement. It makes me think of his second coming.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing Jesus as the Messiah, acknowledging his authority, his lordship.
And choosing to follow him.
So we have this incredible passage. It's full of history, prophecy, and emotion.
And what really stands out for me is the contrast between Jesus' power and his vulnerability.
How so?
Well, he stands up to Herod, calls him out, yet he weeps over Jerusalem.
Yeah. It shows us that strength and compassion aren't mutually exclusive.
That even in the face of opposition, we can be both strong and compassionate.
Powerful takeaway. It prompts us to really examine our own response to God's love.
Are we open to being gathered under his wing, like those chicks?
Or are we resisting, pushing away?
Wow. So much to ponder. Thanks for joining us today on this deep dive into Luke 13.31-35. It's a passage that truly speaks to the heart of our faith.
It certainly does. And it's a great reminder for us to reflect on what it means to follow Jesus.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep searching, keep exploring, keep diving deep.